Welcome back to Sledgehammer Horror, guys. I am Ken Sledge, and let's talk horror. Today may seem a little bit overwhelming, but I promise you, this is going to be worth it. I have the cast and crew of the upcoming Jammin Dead here with us. They have an Indiegogo campaign that is live now. It is down here in the description, guys. So make sure you're helping out these indie filmmakers. Not only are you helping these indie filmmakers and these indie actors, actresses, producers, you're also going to be getting some cool ass swag to go along with it. So we're going to go down the line here. First off, we got Kara Grosfield. Kara, how are you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you.
You play Anna in the film. So that's Kara. Down here we got Shawn Heitman. He plays Bert in the film. Shawn, how you doing?
Doing great. Thank you.
No, thank you so much. We also have Tanner McGar. Tanner is assistant director, assistant producer. How are you doing, Tanner?
Doing very good. Excited to talk about the movie.
So am I, so much. We also have Josh McFadden, who you guys have seen here before on My First Horror Movie. Josh, how are you doing today, buddy?
I'm fine, thank you. Thanks for having me on again.
Hey, anytime, man. This is an honor for me. And last but not least, we have AJ Meyer, who is playing the best named character in the film, Cowface. How you doing today, AJ?
Hanging in there, having a good evening with this podcast. So how's it going?
Yeah, I'm so excited to have you guys. When we started working out the deals on this, I was so excited because when me and Josh talked the first time, learning about kind of the vision he had for this film was very exciting for me. So I'm going to keep going right down the line. Kara, what was it like for you to become part of this project?
It was the most exciting thing that I think I've ever had pitched to me because I grew up as a horror fanatic and I've done a lot of projects, but this is my first horror film. So it was beyond exciting to even get to audition, let alone be cast. So it was a once in a lifetime opportunity for me.
And this is awesome because, like you said, with it being the first horror film that you've done, even though you've been a horror fan your whole life, now no matter what, you are always a part of the genre. Nobody can take that away from you now. So I'm very happy for you, and I'm so honored that we can have you be a part of this project. We can watch you in your first horror film. This is going to be so epic and so amazing. What about you, Shawn? What was it like for you to be able to sign on to this project?
Yeah, I'd have to agree with Kara. It was really exciting. Meeting Josh and talking to him about the project. I haven't done any horror either, so I'm really looking forward to it. So I think this will be pretty cool.
Gosh, this is so cool. Like to hear you guys talking about how this is going to be the first horror film you watched. Obviously people that watch the podcast know first horror films mean the world to me. So to know that this is gonna be the first horror film you guys have acted in is so awesome. And it's so, it's inspiring. Like, I'm so excited for you guys. Like, I can't wait for this. And what about you, Tanner? Assistant director, assistant producer, you got a lot of shit on your shoulders. What's it like for you being a part of the project?
Well, I'm happy to be a part of the project. Unlike the others, I've done quite a few horror movies before this one. But I was really excited that Josh came to me with the slasher idea because right there, that movie. Beware of the Woods on DVD. Anyways, I was excited to work on this project because Josh had a really fun vision that aligns with a lot of the stuff I've directed in the past. So it's like, yeah, I want to help it out because, that's what I kind of do in film is help out these ideas. I kind of lost track of where I was going with that. But yes, very excited. Always fun to do slasher fun stuff in the woods.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's something that us horror fans mostly started off with horror, with slasher stuff in the woods. So I think we all kind of gravitate towards slasher in the woods. It's just such a fun thing that we all love to watch.
Yeah, where there's a wood, there's a way.
I like that. So now I got to talk to Mr. Cowface here for a second. AJ, what's it like for you to be a part of this project?
Oh, I'm stoked. I'm always excited. It's kind of it's a weird double-edged sword in a way because I got to work with where I met Josh was on another project called The 13th Rises, where I got to play a Jason Voorhees for one of my first horror films. So I'm kind of I don't have a problem getting typecasted into that big intimidating person, but sometimes there's a lack of lines, which that can be a different thing. That's another side of the acting side of the field. But no, I'm super excited to see what we can do and just see if we can make some people piss their pants during a movie.
Hell yeah, that's the goal every time. And it's funny you bring up, you got to play Jason Voorhees, and Jason Voorhees is such an iconic figure in the horror community. The very first piece of Sledgehammer Horror merchandise I ever made was this bad boy right here. So I mean, that's how much the big guy means to me, and you're forever part of that world, man. So that's really intense, really awesome as well. Josh, what's it like seeing this vision come to life for you, man?
It's the best feeling ever, honestly. Just to have this film in the works for so long, because I wrote this back all the way in 2018. So this has been sort of in my mind, so at the forefront of my just everyday thoughts ever since then till now. And just to see it come together and to see all these great people who are just perfect for what I've been envisioning for all these years, it's just really, I can't really put it into words, you know, it's just so great.
So have you guys started the filming process yet, Josh?
We have not yet. No, we're planning to shoot come around probably June or July of this year.
And you guys can help to make that happen. I know I said it once. I'm going to say it again. The Indiegogo link is down here in the description. I think one thing that we all learned while we've been living through this pandemic is that indie filmmakers have helped to get us through, whether it was through streaming services or YouTube or, you know, even through theater. A lot of these indie film artists never stopped. They've followed protocols. They've kept their actors, their producers, and everybody on set safe, but they've continued to keep us entertained. So a little bit goes a long way when we're giving back to these indie filmmakers, these actors and actresses, to help make their dreams come true. Because yes, you have the directors and their visions, but without Kara, Shawn, Tanner, AJ, this doesn't happen. And these guys are ready to pour their heart and soul out into these roles. So when you found out you got the role, Kara, how long after you auditioned did you figure out that you got the role?
Well, I got a call back, which, by the way, was the most shocking thing for me because I was so anxious going to the first audition because it was like a horror film and it was such an important thing that I wanted to get. So I was very astonished that I even got the call back because I definitely was anxious and I think I messed it up. But when I got the call back, it wasn't long after that I was told that I got the role. And you better believe I called everyone I knew and told them and I let them know. I was very excited.
That's the sense of pride you have in yourself it's so awesome. And I'm so happy. Well, like I said, once me and Josh talked about this, how much can we actually talk about the film just without getting my head bitten off?
Oh yeah, we can go about into like character descriptions, you know, not too far into some stuff, but
Okay.
yeah,
Like I said, the last thing I want is to offend you, man. I'm very excited that we get to talk about this. So
yeah, we can.
So what can you tell us, Shawn, about Bert?
Yeah, he is kind of I don't want to say like a guy's guy, but he's somebody who is who has very strong morals, very strong values, and he sticks to them whether or not other people around him agree with them. And so he kind of sticks to his guns. He's also someone who likes to work with his hands. And so my audition was, I didn't go to a live audition. I taped mine and sent it in. And I went a little unconventional. I went out in my garage thinking, okay, this kind of fits the character more, and did it in my garage. And it's kind of a gamble on my part, but it turned out. So that was good. I'm glad Josh and the guys looked past all the junk on my shelves and gave me a shot at it. So
that's incredible, man. And how long have you been in the game for, Shawn? How long have you been acting?
A little over a year. I just started about a year and some months ago. So I'm pretty new at this.
Congratulations, man. That's really cool. And to see that you're landing a horror movie so early in your career, for me, that's huge. I grew up in a video store. My parents owned a video store. I always gravitated to the horror section. So to see that, you know, so young in your acting career, you landed a horror movie, to me is so awesome, because that's got to be the best experience in the world. You know, being on set, the fun that you have because of how dark and scary everything you're doing is. I'm so excited to hear how this goes for you guys.
Yeah, it's really exciting, and I'm really looking forward to it. It's something that's not you know, that I'm pretty passionate about, and so I want to make sure that I bring Josh's vision to life, and that do the best that I can to make sure that his film, that his vision comes to life, and that we're presenting what he wants. And so I'm going to do my best to get.
Man, and I trust Josh's judgment, and Tanner obviously has a big part of that too, being assistant director, assistant producer. How many tapes did you guys have to go through? And did you do mostly tapes, Tanner, or did you do a lot of like half tape, half live auditions? Like, how did you guys manage that one?
We taped the live auditions for the most part, or was that just the callbacks?
It was
just the callbacks. Okay.
Cool.
I took a little like more of a backseat in the casting because like Josh knows the characters better than I do. I guess I shouldn't say it. He just sent me a list at the end, and I looked at the videos. I'm like, and I kind of like nudged him, like maybe that one, not that one, with some of the
Right.
casting. But for the most part, all the casting was Josh. Callbacks were in person, and we recorded the callbacks, and then Josh reviewed it, and then he like gave me who he was thinking about. I'm like, yeah, these work. So
That's awesome, man. And now, with you being the assistant director, assistant producer on this, were you signed on to the project fairly early? I mean, I can't say fairly, like we're still very early in the project, but were you someone that was signed on pretty quickly once? Because like I said, it's been going on since 2018. When did you actually come into the project?
So Josh played the killer in one of my movies we filmed in the summer of 2020. And it was shortly after that shoot that he emailed me the script and wanted my thoughts and if I was interested. And I was, and obviously, then it just went from there. So it's definitely been over a year since I've probably been involved with it. But obviously, closer we get to this summer when we're going to film it, the more things start rolling. So,
Right.
yes.
And the best things are worth waiting for, especially right now. Like I said, during COVID, during the pandemic, I'm glad you guys are taking your time, making sure that everything's right. My wife's a respiratory therapist, so COVID in this household is something we take very serious. So I'm very appreciative for the time you guys have taken to make sure you're doing this right. You guys all kick ass, and I'm so excited for that. Back over to my buddy Cowface, AJ. When you got the call back for this, like your excitement level had to be through the roof. I know that you talked a little bit about the typecasting type thing, but you are a big, intimidating guy. So the excitement for you has to be through the roof being able to play Cowface.
Oh yeah, no, it's extremely exciting. I really like. I don't know how descriptive we can get with the character. I have what I've read in our script and whatnot. The closest thing I can say with my casting situation is that there we go. That I'm gonna be stoked to just be like, yeah, I have a lot of picturing the situations and just hopefully to terrify the cast and crew as we're mid filming, because with my audition process, I must have left an impression when I scalped Josh on our other project, because he kind of reached out with kind of that interest of, hey, I have this character, I'm interested in you kind of playing this character, and we kind of went from there. I was actually kind of seeing when we first started talking a little bit, and it's been about since October of 19, so it's super exciting to see kind of where we're at now, and just that seriousness that we're taking this project. It's not just kind of like Josh said, he wrote it in 2018. It's not just something that was like, hey, we should do this. It's something that's obviously COVID happened, but it's something that he's working on. He's putting his heart and soul into it in terms of making sure it gets done and gets done right. So it's going to be super exciting to see what we can do. It's going to be super exciting to see what happens to all the characters involved, and it'll be great. It's going to be awesome.
I just can't imagine getting that call like, hey, man, yeah, what's going on? So we have this character. We think you're perfect for him. His name's Cowface. And we just, looking at your pictures, we think you would be perfect for Cowface. That's just a phone call that I would be very hesitant to be excited about.
Not to take away from Jammin Dead, but so when I talked about the Jason thing, I was actually auditioning for the role that Josh played in that film.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how they came back. It's like, hey, would you feel about playing Jason instead? So it was very similar to this playing Cowface. It's like, yeah, do you want to play Brett? Do you want to play Sarah? Do you want to play Josh? How about Cowface? Yeah, I think I can handle that.
That's awesome, man. And I'm so excited to see the sense of humor that you guys all have with each other. Now, just with the casting process, and now that I know that you did most of the casting, was it, once you were watching these tapes, was it a fairly easy process? Because you know in your mind what you're looking for. So when you seen these auditions, was it like, oh, I know right away, this is one of the people I got to have. This is exactly how it went from my heart to my brain, to my fingers, to the paper, now on the screen. Was it quite easy process to pick who you had, or was this quite a taxing process for you?
No, it was kind of a mix of sort of all of that for some of the different roles. Like some of them, they come in like Kara here for Anna. She walked in, boom. She's like, okay, you have just crawled out of my screenplay. That's it, But I mean, some of the other ones were a pretty hard choice. Like Shawn here for Bert, we got a lot of really great submissions for him, and it was a really tough call between a lot of people. But yeah, I had to obviously go to Tanner here, get his thoughts on obviously directing a couple more horror features himself than me. He's got sort of better instincts with casting, so that helped a lot. But yeah, some of them were tough calls, and some of them were just, boom, I can't believe I found this person so easily,
Yeah.
Josh, did you get that cake I sent you? Did I get to you yet?
He sent you the thank you cake already. So Kara, I want to bounce back to you. You said that this is your first role in a horror film. When you read the script, was this something that you were like, yeah, I'm going to go do this and this is going to happen? Or were you more on the nervous side of horror film? I haven't done a horror film. I want to kind of baby step into it. Like, this is, from what me and Josh have talked about, you are diving into the deep end of the horror genre by signing on to Jammin as your first horror film. So was this one, when you read the script, you just knew right away, like, this is me. Anna was made for me. I am Kara. I am Anna. This is my role. This is going to happen.
I think that when I first read the script, it was kind of eerie how much I was like, I would absolutely be doing this in real life. At some points, it may be a little concerning that I relate to the character so much, but you know what? I love
Right.
the character. She's very much like fascinated by the macabre and is very like knowledgeable about the spooky, scary things that go bump in the night. And that just feels like something that I'd been preparing for this since I was like 6 years old when I watched Chucky in my uncle's living room. So I've been prepping my whole life, and here I am. So I'm 100% confident and ready. I'm just excited.
Well, I could also say, as a side note, your uncle is the shit. I can just say that real quick. Love the guy to death already. Same around the same question, Shawn. Like, you talk about how your character Bert is kind of like a man's man. Like, he works with his hands, handyman type of guy. Just looking at you, and this is not meant in any disrespect, you look like an intimidating guy. Like, you look like a guy, like, if I seen you, I'd be like, yeah, that's the type of guy that Paul Bunyan would be like, no, I'm good. You go ahead. Here's your ex. Go ahead. You take my ox too if you want. When you read the script, are you that type of guy? Is this more of a where you knew you'd be able to play Bert because it's more of who Shawn is, or is this kind of out of your comfort zone playing this type of guy?
I think it's, well, I don't want Josh to change his mind, but I think it's a little bit different than what my true character is. However, I do kind of get cast like AJ was saying, kind of typecast as kind of the harder person, somebody who's a little bit harder, a little bit rough around the edges and stuff. So it seems to be kind of where I'm falling into. Although when I was reading the script, my wife looked over and she saw the role cow face, and she's surprised I didn't get that, because she's like, you look like a cow face, so you should be getting that. I was surprised. I'm like, no, that's not me. It's somebody else.
As much as I love Kara's uncle, I love your wife even more, Shawn. She sounds amazing. That is so cool. And so she can have that sense of humor with you. But I think as a side note also to what you just said, this is not who you are. You're getting typecast in these type of roles, but for you to be able to play these type of roles out of your comfort zone and to be able to nail them has got to be a rewarding experience for you, because that's what acting is playing. If you go in and you're just playing yourself, you're not really acting, you're just being yourself. But for you to go out and play these roles that are not who you really are, that's got to be a very proud feeling to know that you landed that role, even though that's not who you are.
Yeah, and I'm also excited because there's going to be some stunt work in here too that I'm really looking forward to. So I'm looking forward to getting my hands dirty with that also. So that should be a lot of fun.
That's intense. I'm so excited. I can't tell you my excitement level for this. I've been waiting for this since me and Josh talked a couple months ago, and to see that this project is finally coming into fruition, I'm so proud of all you guys, Josh, especially you, because the friendship that you and I have, to know that this project that's been your baby for 4 years now is finally coming into fruition, and I'm meeting who you've had planned in your head the whole time, man. This is so exciting for me. Just as you as being my friend, I'm very excited to see this coming into fruition for you, my friend. So Tanner, I want to bounce back to you here for a second. Where are you guys actually filming the movie at?
Colorado. I don't think there might be a main cabin location. It's locked down, but in the mountains of Colorado, I'd assume.
That's awesome. And so everybody here is in Colorado, I'm assuming.
5 more months.
Tom Matthews coming out from California.
What was that?
Except for Tom Matthews coming out from
Right.
California.
Which is super. I didn't know if we were going to be able to talk about that or not, but
Talk all about it,
yes. So, while we're on that subject, Josh, we have some of the cast here. Obviously, this is not the whole cast and crew. You just said something that I wasn't going to say. Tom Matthews is going to be a part of it. Is there any other cast members that you could talk about that are going to be a part of the project?
Yeah. Well, obviously we had he was going to join us tonight. Jojo Hufford Reynolds, great guy. He's going to be playing a sort of a comedic relief type of character. And so we did a sort of read through rehearsal with him. Man, he's a really funny guy, really great presence, and he's going to be really great. Our lead for the movie, Shawn Heitman, she is also fantastic. Just really great person in general. Not just as an actor, but we got a really good cast. I just kind of jump all over the place about it, but yeah, I'm excited for everyone.
It's incredible. So, and now that I can talk about, the fact that Tom Matthews, which hell yeah, is a part of the film. AJ, this kind of connects back to you. You've played Jason Voorhees, and now you're acting next to Tom Matthews. What's that like for you to be acting next to Tom Matthews?
It's a little insane. It's a little intimidating. I'm already speechless even thinking about it. It's going to be crazy to like talk to him about it, kind of get his insight and see whatever like I can glean off of him in terms of bringing that fearful presence to this character and to the film, so that it's not trying to think of a good comparison. Like I'd rather you're like old school Jason Voorhees compared to Jason Voorhees of Jason X, for example.
Sure.
So whatever he can provide in that older era of him, and just I'm speechless on it. I want to learn whatever I can from him, and if I can scare him properly, then I'll know I'm doing my job well.
Sure. And you're acting with an icon of the slasher genre. All of you are. So, and like I said, with Kara and Shawn being your first horror film, to be on set with someone like Tom Matthews has to be an intimidating process. And Kara, I want to bounce back to you. You talked about how your character is kind of the lover of the macabre, and how Kara is kind of a lover of the macabre. Going into this role, how far out of your comfort zone are you willing to go?
Well, I feel like as an actor, you've got to be, especially in the horror genre, you've got to be willing to like push yourself. And my favorite movie, the cinematography wise and acting wise, is Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original one. And it's because all of the actors, they were pushed so far out of their comfort zone. They were in such like awful scenarios during the making of that film. Yeah. Yet they pulled out one of the most, in my opinion, beautiful and well-written pieces of art in the entire world. And so I am ready and prepared to do what I have to do to get this character into the place she needs to be to make this an amazing film. I'm ready.
Well, and the comparison to Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I'm with you, Kara. I do not consider that a slasher film. I've always thought of that as an art film. I mean, everything from picking up roadkill off the side of the road for decorations in the house to, I mean, Gunnar was throwing up because it was so hot and the meat was rotting in that house while they're doing the dinner scene. In between takes, he's running outside and throwing up and coming back in and putting his face back on and going right back to work. So, that's the perfect movie to compare it to. Like, that's really, really, you're not swinging for a single, you're swinging for the fences. So it's really good to hear you have that type of passion for this film.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Shawn, reading the script, when the script first came to you, did you immediately know this is the thing that I'm going to do? Or was this more of the, let's see what happens with this one? Like the same question I had for Kara. Was this, when you read this, were you like, I am hurt, this role was made for me? Or was this one where you were more of a nervous because of jumping into the horror genres? Definitely heavy, because horror is the best community in the world. Because, I mean, we have conventions just based on horror movies. You don't get rom-com con. That just doesn't happen. You don't have people spending 3 days to dress up like Ryan Gosling in The Notebook and then go and dance with somebody in a hall. This just doesn't happen. That's how much horror means to all of us. So now that you are going to be in this world forever, was Bert something that you knew right away? Like, yes, this is the role I got to get.
Yeah, and I thought it was something that I could play pretty convincingly. And again, like I said, I just want to make sure that I do bring whatever vision that Josh and Tanner have to the screen. And so I'm willing to do, whatever needs to be done to make sure that I convey the right kind of tone that they're looking for with this character. But yeah, when I read it, even with the sides that they first sent over, I felt I could do it pretty convincingly. So, but there's a reason the reason they cast me for that, for that part is because I think, like you had said, I kind of have perhaps a look that is a little bit maybe not the most friendly, and so it kind of falls into play.
Right, and I just love the excitement and enthusiasm that all of you have to make this project so great. You could tell that this is a project that means a lot to all of you. This isn't a thing where you're like, hey, I'm going to try to go in here and make a couple bucks and do what I got to do. And you guys are all very, very passionate about this. And that leads me into you, Tanner. You signed on, like you said, Josh sent you the script pretty early. When you read the script, was this something that right away you were like, yes, Josh, I need to be a part of this. What can I do to be a part of this?
Well, of course I like the script and I like the story. What convinced me more to work on the project is Josh himself. Because I've had several other people who are like, oh, yeah, come work on my movie. And I kind of knew when they started talking about it, like, you don't have the drive to finish this movie, though, on a low budget. And sure enough, they never did. But when Josh presented it and the way he talked about it, I'm like, I think you have the drive. You're actually going to go and make this. So that was like, you know what? I want to support you with that because you're actually going to go do this. Because a lot of filmmakers, well, I shouldn't say this. A lot of filmmakers can be all talk and no do. But I sensed it early on with Josh. I'm like, you're passionate about this. You've held on to the script for like 2 years by the time I read it. I'm like, yeah, you're gonna go all the way with this. And of course, I like slasher movies. I've made slasher movies. It's not a hard sell. So I was like, yeah, I want to help out Josh with this one. Sounds like a good project.
And it's funny you say that because when I met Josh, that was one of the first things that him and I talked about. I was like, man, there's a lot of people that I talk to that as I'm talking to them, I'm like, there's probably no way this is going to happen. You just don't have, you have a pipe dream that you don't have any real desire to do. This is more of a fad thing. Talking to Josh right away, I knew like, man, this guy has the passion. He has the mind and this is going to happen one way or another. So when you, Josh, hear all these things, does that get you like even more excited? Like, have you done any rewrites since casting your cast to kind of fill who they are?
There've been a few kind of small rewrites to the script, mostly in like sort of dialogue and like logistical sort of things. Just so can we really do this on this budget? But in terms of like cast wise, most of it has kind of stayed the same since we've cast, all our actors, because I'm just really that confident in all of their abilities and their talent that they can really take what I've written and have been holding on to for, so long and just, satisfy that creative urge,
Right. And that's something that I think everybody, when they read the script, they know, obviously, especially with you, Josh, you're somebody that is for the film, for the actors. You're going to be that actor's director where I feel like everybody can come to you with their ideas and talk about their ideas and you guys can bounce off each other to make the best film possible. Now with that, AJ, Cowface, this is something that every slasher in history has their moment. Do you in your mind already know what that thing is going to be for you, what that big moment for you is going to be to have you stick out from everybody else? Obviously we can't talk about it because I don't want to ruin anything, but in your mind, do you already have that one? Reading the script, you're like, this is the one, this is right here, this is the AJ Cowface where I'm going to let everything hang out.
There's a lot of really good moments throughout it, even like between the introduction, climax, the end, just kind of everywhere. Like there can be a moment in each part of it. There can be a moment in the introduction, a moment where he's the final fight. I don't want to get too detailed. Right. I don't want to talk about all the specifics. But I mean, it's to me in a way, it's a slasher film. You kind of have that, the introduction, you have the traumatic thing. And then you have maybe there's the hint at an end. You don't know. I don't know. It's whatever Josh is going to do. And I think I wanted to try to do that in almost every aspect of it. and then like almost rooting, like who are you rooting for really, depending on what you want, who do you want to win, and just that intimidation factor at the end of, does he come back, does he not, who knows. It'll be very exciting.
I
have
can't wait to see what you have in store for us, man. So I'm not going to keep you guys all night. I got one last question for each of you, and this is the same question for each one of you. I'll start with you again, Kara. What is your end goal with Anna? Is it Anna or Anna? I'm sorry, your character.
Anna.
What is your end goal? I mean, obviously, I can't talk about if you get killed or not, obviously, but I'm excited to see some of you die. But what is your end goal for the character of Anna?
I think for me, I want to make sure to create a character and give everyone in the audience a moment to see my character and leave the theater going, wow, like she done did that thing. She went in there and she done did that thing. And like, wow, I couldn't believe that she was capable. I can't believe that like that character came out and did her thing. And I'm hoping that people like leave and go, wow, like not only did that happen, but that happened and everything happened. And just to be a little domino in that effect is thrilling for me.
That's so good. That's a great answer. What about you, Shawn? What is your main goal here for Bert in the film?
Yeah, not to give too much away as to what this character does, but just to show that what his actions are justified.
Okay. Oh my God. I can't wait for this. Like, Shawn, you're that guy that like, if I was a detective, I would hate having to try to break you and having to try to interrogate you. Cause you're like, I don't give a shit. What you want to say?
No,
Go ahead. Bring it.
I do give a shit.
Give me my phone call, man.
I just don't want to reveal too much. I'm afraid of saying too much. So I'm just trying to be a little bit guarded on it. So
no, you're perfect, man. It's awesome. I love it to death. What about you, Tanner? Obviously signing on. What is your end game goal for the film?
For Josh's hard work to pay off.
That's such a great answer. What about you, Mr. Pigface? AJ, what is your end goal for Pigface and the film?
Yeah, for Cowface, I have a like kind of what Tanner just said. Like,
I said Pigface, Cowface.
Kind of like what it's almost ties to what Tanner just said. Like, I joined this project because of Josh. Like,
yeah,
like I saw like I remember Josh, and I'm like, I'm in. My goal, like if I had a personal goal, it would be to if you ever see like you go to a Texas Roadhouse or any place that has a Longhorn skull somewhere, that they like, I feel uncomfortable. I don't want to be in this room anymore.
Yes,
that'd
dude,
be the goal.
So awesome. And I think that every slasher has their iconic, like Jason has the mask, Michael has the mask, Freddy has the glove. Everybody has their thing. And that Texas Longhorn, like you said, what a perfect design. Josh, can you show us that again, please?
Yeah.
Look at that. That right there screams, I don't want a steak tonight. So obviously, Josh, this is your brainchild. This is your baby. What is your end game goal for the film?
My end goal is really to create a movie that makes people come away with it with the same feeling that I got when I like first came up with this idea, way back in 2018, and just the idea alone was enough to push me to write this whole script and go through all of this for all these years. And I want people to come away with that same sort of feeling, that same just great, inspirational, just, I've just had a great time kind of feeling,
Yeah. And that's what we look for in a slasher, man. We just want to have fun. That's really what we want. We want to have a good time. We want to have fun. So, guys, I said it at the beginning, but now we're at the third act. So I'm going to say it again. The credits are about to roll, but the Indiegogo link, as well as their individual social media links, are all down here in the description. So we know that right now times are hard. Gas prices are going up. Everything's going up. But if you can give even just a little bit to try to help with the film, I promise you it means a lot. You don't have to go above and beyond, but any help, any little bit does help. So if you do have the opportunity and you do have the means, please click this Indiegogo link and donate to the project. If you don't have the means, click the social media links and follow them and support them that way. So we appreciate everything that you guys can do to help out the film. Don't go anywhere, guys. I got a couple questions for all of you. Everybody else, as always, keep talking horror, stay what you are, and we'll see you guys soon.